are you familiar with Club Crucial?
Yes, sir.
How close is Club Crucial to that precinct that you were working that night?
Maybe like a couple hundred yards.
Now, what time or what was your shift, or were you working that day?
Yes, sir. I was working that day, and my shift was at 10 p.m. that night to 7 in the morning the next day.
So you would start 10 p.m. April 27th, going till 6 a.m. April 28th?
Yes, sir.
Now, were you in uniform?
Yes.
And would you have had a patrol car?
Yes.
And back then, did you ever have a partner, or were you working your single patrol car?
Just solo.
Now, coming on shift that night, do you remember ever responding to any calls that stood out?
Yeah, we had a shots fired call, and I think a fight call at Club Crucial that night, towards the beginning and middle of the shift.
Rough ballpark, do you remember around what time that would have been?
Between 12 and 1 in the morning.
And did you respond to that call?
Yes, sir.
Did other officers respond?
Yes, a lot.
Now, when you're responding to Club Crucial, have you responded there before in the past?
Yes.
And what were you responding to on the night of April 27th going into April 28th? What type of call was it?
We had shots fired in the area, and we had large group of people fighting. That's what the call came in at.
And how extensive was your involvement with that Club Crucial call midway through your shift?
That night, my job was basically just to get everybody out safely. So I was out trying to get clear the parking lot and get everybody on the road.
Now, after responding to Club Crucial, did that impact how the rest of your shift would go?
Usually when we have incidents that happen in Crucial, they carry over into the neighborhood. So yes, we were on alert that night due to the shots fired and the fight that happened in Club Crucial.
Now, Officer Hill, after you responded to, or let me ask you this, that night, because you were in beat 10, would you show up on, or would you be 1110 on a CAD report if you were working beat 10 in zone 1?
Yes.
And would other officers you said that there was 14 beats in zone 1,
Mm-hmm.
would it be reflective of 1 through 14?
Yes.
Now, after you responded to Club Crucial, did you ever have the opportunity to go to 1903 Drew Drive?
Yes, I responded to a call at 1903 Drew Drive later that morning, like around about 5 that morning.
After you'd responded to Club Crucial?
Yes.
Now, what area had you been to Drew Drive in that area before?
Yes.
And by this point, it'd be April 28th, 5 in the morning, about around that time when you responded to Drew Drive?
Yes, sir.
Back then, in April 28th of 2015, how would you describe that area that Drew Drive is in your beat?
It was a quiet area, nice, fairly new. We renovated, so we didn't really get too many calls in that area.
What type of calls had you responded to in that area when you responded that morning?
Because
Objection as to relevance.
Your Honor, it's setting a background for Officer Hill's familiarity with his specific beat that night of the shooting.
Oh.
Now, Officer Hill, when you responded to Drew Drive, how far was it from your precinct?
It's like a 5-minute drive.
How far is that from Club Crucial?
Same, about 5 minutes.
Now, when you got there, were you at a house, a residence, an apartment? What was there when you arrived?
It's both, but the actual 1903.
How about the objection on the leading question?
When you got there, was it light out or dark out?
Come on with the multiple choice questions.
And
is it light? Is it dark?
I wanted to.
That's not an appropriate question.
When you first got there, who did you see or encounter?
If anyone, you're leading.
Miss Battle.
Okay. And was there anyone else other than Miss Battle that you interacted with when you first got on scene?
Not initially.
Now, Officer Hill, without mentioning what she told you, what was...
Who said she told you anything?
I don't know.
we haven't talked about this before, but please just refer to her by her last name, okay?
Okay.
And I don't know that you've
Yeah,
done anything other
See,
than that.
there's an
but-
objection that should be
Yes,
assumes facts, not an
Officer
evidence.
Hill, without stating what Miss Battle told you, what was her demeanor when you encountered her?
She seemed like she was frightened, scared.
And did you talk with her outside or inside that apartment,
Objection,
if you remember?
compound.
I don't remember that.
The form of these questions
That's all
are
right. Now,
disgusting.
after speaking with her, did you go anywhere within that apartment complex?
Yes.
Where did you go?
I went to her, well, the call, her apartment was damaged from a rear balcony. So when I entered the apartment, I went to the direction of the rear balcony. She pointed out where her damages were. And we was like in the living room area of by the balcony.
And was her apartment, was it on the first floor, second floor?
Form.
Now, did you know before speaking with Miss Battle what kind of call you were responding to initially?
Yes.
What kind of call was that?
It was a shots fired call.
Now, Officer Hill, I want to approach you with what's been marked as State's Exhibits 3 Lima Lima through 64 Lima Lima.
Damn. 3 through 54. So we talking, is it 50 something pieces of evidence there or? So kids, my law students that's watching this, you always need to
Now, Officer
articulate
Hill, if you
what
can,
you're
do me a
doing.
favor and flip through
For the
from
record.
3 Lima Lima through 64 Lima Lima. And when you're done, just look up at me.
So we should know what that exhibit contains, right? How many pictures are there that he's looking at? That should be on the record. Because right now, nobody knows. He said 3 through 50, whatever. So it could be, there's no way to know that. And the record will be silent unless someone says exactly what is contained in the exhibit. I mean, I know that he's going to offer them for admission, but even in the identification stage, you need to indicate on the record what you're identifying. Office day today, y'all. Yeah, I ain't got no suit on. Don't play with me. I had this on, but the AC be blasting in here. And it be cold. So I got my little shawl. Yeah, it looked like it's about 50 pictures there, fam. That's crazy. Because how's okay, let me just, that's why I don't watch these things, because it's frustrating. I only know those ain't very similar pictures and this is not going to be cumulative. Cumulative means that you basically are offering the same evidence. It doesn't have a tendency, this evidence, to prove any other fact that hasn't already been established. I don't know if y'all heard that. I tried to mute it. This is crazy. So now you're going to ask him if each one of those photos fairly and accurately represent whatever is depicted in each photo. Like, how is this? I don't like this. How are you doing this? might show this clip to my students. And I hope he's not going to publish all of those exhibits to the jury right now after he moved them into evidence, because we'll be here for the rest of the afternoon. Wow. He's still flipping. He almost done. Oh my God. Okay.
Yes, sir.
What are those? 3
Just
through 64.
photos of the damaged property and some of the shell casings that we recovered from the scene.
Are they a fair and accurate of the photographs and the scene that
There's
you
no
responded
way that they
to
can do
on
this,
April 28th, 2015?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, at this time, the state moves to admit into evidence states exhibits 3 through 64.
No, he's sitting outside. He's sitting.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Wow.
Now,
No
Officer Hill, I want to
objection.
start with 3 through
Okay.
12, Lima Lima. What apartment was Miss Battle's apartment? After speaking with her, you said you went inside. What apartment was it that you all went to?
Apartment 1122.
And once you, so I want to publish State's Exhibit 3, Lima Lima first.
Why you put Saint, you put that solid on
Lunch is here.
Yes. So I have to give it a cash.
Now, Officer Hill, you had said she was on the first floor, apartment 1122,
Yeah, yes, sir.
and turning to 4 Lima Lima. Is this 1122 the apartment you went to with Miss Battle that night?
Yes, sir.
Now, can you describe for the jury, what did you see when you went inside? I'm going to publish 5 Lima Lima, or I'll take a step back. When you had first mentioned her back porch,
Mhm.
what was the damage that you noticed, if any, on Miss Battle's apartment porch?
You can tell that her back door was damaged, had glass shatter throughout the door. So when I went in, she pointed me into the direction, and I was able to see where the bullet made entry. And I just traced the direction, and noticed that it went through her couch as well.
I'm going to walk through a couple of these photographs with you, Officer Hill. And
Okay.
this publishing 7 Lima Lima, can you orient for the jury? Do you see the damage you had just referenced in 7 Lima Lima?
Oh, yes, sir.
And where is it?
It's toward the bottom of the door or glass.
Is it where that blind is?
Damaged it. Yes, sir.
And once you trace that, can you show the jury on publishing 8 Lima Lima where that bullet?
Yeah. So the bullet, when it made entry through the door or the glass, it went directly to the couch cushion, like where the armrest is at, and it went through the pillows.
I'm going to publish 9 Lima Lima. Is 9 Lima Lima, is that the inside of Miss Battle's apartment door, 1122?
Yes.
And 10 Lima Lima, can you describe for the jury, is this the couch that you were just discussing with them about the bullet hole?
Yes, sir.
And 11 Lima Lima, where did you notice the damage in Miss Battle's couch in 11 Lima Lima?
Right at the bottom part of the arm cushion. Yeah, that's where the damage, the bullet went through.
And 12 Lima Lima, do you see any debris or that you saw that night in Miss Battle's apartment?
Yes.
Can you describe for the jury where that is?
It's right in between on the bottom right of the pillow, in between the green and red circles.
you direct my mouse, or you tell me, you talking about towards the right of where that clicker is?
Yes.
Now, was anyone else in the apartment with Miss Battle when you were walking through with her to see the damage?
Not that I seen though.
Did you ever become aware of any other apartments that were damaged?
Yeah, so after I got finished talking with Miss Battle, I walked outside where her bathroom was at and just cased the area. And that's when I seen several other shell casings outside of apartment 1120.
Now, is apartment 1120, is that right next door to Miss Battle's apartment?
Yes.
Now, once after you looked through Miss Battles and saw these additional shell casings, was the lighting better or worse in terms of natural sunlight by that time?
Still about the same at that time.
And so when you first came on scene, it was dark out.
Mhm.
And did you notice the shell casings as the lighting got better?
So as I waited for the ID set to come out, take pictures of the damages, by that time it became daylight. So that's when I noticed several more shell cases in the middle of the street.
Now, would you have been the officer who radioed for ID to come out to 1903 Drew Drive?
Yes, sir.
And did a crime scene tech arrive?
Yes.
Now, after realizing this additional damage, was anyone in apartment 1120?
Initially, I didn't know. So we did try to do a knock and talk, make sure nobody wasn't injured inside the home or possibly deceased. So I was able to get the maintenance man of the complex to let me in for me to do a welfare check of the home. After I did the welfare check, I realized no one was in the home. So we secured the door and exited.
Now, I want to talk to you about what you saw inside apartment 1120. So I'm publishing 13 Lima Lima. Is this the inside of the outside of apartment 1120 next door to Miss Battles?
Yes.
Now, Officer Hill, was there also, or can you describe for the jury what I'm going to publish 15 Lima Lima? Is this the outside of apartment 1120?
Yes.
And what type of damage was in that apartment?
This apartment had a lot more damage to the glass, the windows. You can tell that more bullets hit this home compared to Miss Battles.
I'm showing you 16 Lima Lima, and I'm going to turn to 17 Lima Lima. What is that at the base of the door outside apartment 1120 on the ground?
Appears to be a shell casing.
And is there any glass that you see on the ground?
Yes.
Is that from shattered glass from bullets going through that back patio door?
Yes.
And is that a close-up 18 Lima Lima, Officer Hill, of what we were just discussing?
Yes.
Now, is 19 Lima Lima, is this the inside of apartment 1120?
That's correct.
Publishing 20 Lima Lima, was there any damage in the kitchen area of this apartment when you went inside to inspect it?
Yes.
And looking at 21 Lima Lima, what do you see in this photograph inside the kitchen of apartment 1120?
The oven was damaged from the bullets.
Was anyone shot inside apartment 1120 when you were there that night?
No.
And Officer Hill, with 22 Lima Lima, is this a piece of debris inside that apartment?
Yes.
And do you know what type of, either what that is? Is that have any connection with bullet?
Yes.
What is it?
Like fragment from a bullet.
Turning to 23 Lima Lima, inside of this apartment, was there any defects in the walls from inside that apartment?
Yes, sir.
And did you do a similar to how you did in Miss Battle's apartment in terms of try to trace to the best you can where the bullets came from the outside in?
Oh, yes, sir.
I'm showing you is 24 Lima Lima. Do you see a defect in this photograph?
Yes.
Also publishing 25 Lima Lima. Do you see any defects in this photograph?
Yes.
And from your personal review, did you or did you not believe that these defects came from bullets?
Yes.
They did. Also showing you 26 Lima Lima. Do you see any defects here between in this laundry room area of the apartment?
Yes.
And can you describe for the jury where it is?
It was right in the kind of middle of the picture, in between the cords, the hole.
27 Lima Lima. Was there any, and I'm going to actually go to a better one of 29 Lima Lima. Do you see any damage to this other window inside like the bedroom area of that apartment?
Yes.
And is where the mouse is the area of the window that has the bullet defect?
Yes, sir.
Is this another angle of that same window in 30 Lima Lima?
Yes.
And do you see, Officer Hill, in 31 Lima Lima, any bullet projectiles or debris in this photograph?
Yes.
Can you describe for the jury where that is?
So inside the left shoe.
And is it the all white shoes?
I'm sorry. Yes, sir. The all white flat shoe.
And is it towards the toe or the heel of that shoe?
Towards the heel.
I'm going to move. Is that what you were describing, Officer Hill?
Yes.
Now, Officer Hill, once you looked in apartments 1120 and apartments 1122, did you ever go outside into the street area at 1903 Drew Drive?
Yes.
And what did you see outside in the street, outside of those back porches of those apartments?
Several shell casings.
And by several, how many shell casings did you see roughly outside in the street?
I would say over 20 at that time.
Turning or publishing 62 Lima Lima, can you describe for the jury in general what this photograph depicts?
Yeah, so everywhere you see a yellow marking on the ground is where we recovered a shell casing from.
So are all of these yellow placards in the street outside of 1903 Drew Drive indicative of shell casings or projectiles in the street?
Yes.
Publishing 63 Lima Lima, is this another view of those shell casings in the street?
Yes.
Now, Officer Hill, while the crime scene tech was there, there's a number, or how many, well, I'll do this. Do you see that this is placard number 1 and 32 Lima Lima?
Mhm.
I'm gonna publish 61 Lima Lima. Excuse me, publishing 60 Lima Lima. And Officer Hill, what is next to the placard in 28 as depicted on 60 Lima Lima next to placard number 28?
Shell casing.
And so was there 28 placards that were crime scene tech put on scene outside of 1903 Drew Drive?
Yes.
and are walking back to now, while I'm getting that pulled up, I wanted to take a step back. When you were at Club Crucial, do you know what time that fight commenced before you went to Jew Drive?
Do I remember what time the fight started? You-
Correct.
Oh, we got the call around between maybe 1:30. So it happened before that.
And was, while you were out on scene, were any suspects identified from Club Crucial that you responded to?
Not for me, no sir.
And if you had to ballpark, how long were you personally, on that scene? Was it 30 minutes? Was it an hour, 2 hours?
But it was between 20 and 30 minutes.
And were you able to do anything or take any steps to identify who was fighting at Club Crucial?
No,
Were you able to do anything to identify who was shooting?
no.
And that time of night, is Club Crucial crowded or not crowded?
Crowded.
And after there's a shooting, is it easy or difficult to gather information when Club Crucial's crowded and there's a shooting?
No, it's difficult.
Overruled.
You may answer, Officer Hill.
It's difficult at that time.
Why is it difficult? Why is it difficult to gather information in that environment?
Multiple people running, trying to get out the way, trying to get home, get safe. So a lot of times people are not trying to talk to us or answer any questions.
And is the parking lot of Club Crucial in close or not in close proximity to where people would come out if everyone was leaving the establishment?
Yes.
Is it close
It's
or
close.
not close?
No, it's close, yeah.
Did you personally speak to anyone at Club Crucial when you arrived?
No.
How often would you get calls when you've been working in Zone 1 over the past 12 years about shots fired or fights at Club Crucial?
Objection as to relevance.
Your Honor, there's multiple 2517 Donnelly Hollowell, which is the location of Club Crucial. Officer Hill, you may answer. How many times have you responded to shots fired or a fight at 2517 Donnelly Hollowell Club Crucial?
A lot.
And by a lot, is it 50? Is it 100? Is it 1,000?
At that time, maybe a few hundred.
Now, should be coming up momentarily, Officer Hill. So we started with placard 1, and then I showed you placard 28. I'm not going to go through every one, but I wanted to cycle through a couple to talk about with the jury. So, Officer Hill, do you see a shell casing in 33 Lima Lima next to placard number 2?
Yes.
And do you know what type of shell casings were on scene?
Not at that moment I did.
Were you ever able to determine or learn what type of shell casings that they were?
Yes.
What type were they?
They were 9mm shell casings.
Was there any other type of shell casings that you found on scene?
It was, but I don't know. I don't remember what the other
That's all right.
casing was.
Going back to placard number 4, which is 35 Lima Lima, where is the shell casing in 35 Lima Lima in relation to that vehicle?
Right underneath the tire.
And so were the shell casings that were in the street, were some underneath vehicles, some were they scattered throughout Jew Drive, or were they not?
Yes, they were scattered out throughout the drive.
Now, since you've been working in Zone 1, at least in regards to night shift, when you come on at 10 and leave at 6 a.m., when do calls typically tend to die down? What part of the night?
Towards the end, so anytime after 4 on out, it tends to die down.
When's like the most busiest time on shift?
When we first come on, like around 10 and 12.
And when you got to the scene, roughly again, what time was it when you first met Miss Battle?
A little bit after 5.
Was there many people out at that time?
No.
Publishing 36 Lima Lima, is there another shell casing from the scene?
Yes.
I'm going to jump to .43 Lima Lima. In 43 Lima Lima, and while you were walking the scene, were some of the projectiles or defects from bullets close by to one another, or were they not?
Yes.
And is 43 Lima Lima show different projectiles or debris from bullets in close proximity to one another?
Yes.
I'm going to turn back to .62 Lima Lima. Using .62 Lima Lima, what was the proximity of the vehicles to where the shell casings were found on scene?
They were pretty close.
And how close were these shell casings to the apartment, specifically 1120 and 1122 that you responded to that night?
So apartment 1120, 1122 would be right on the other side of those black rails in the bushes.
On the right side of the
I'm
photograph?
sorry, yes, to the right side of the photo.
Like this, is this the black rail that you're describing?
Yes.
So if you were to walk, you see where my cursor is?
Mm-hmm.
If you were to walk from this part of Drew Drive and walk all the way towards the camera angle and keep walking, would these placards from the debris or projectiles, where would they be in relation to both those apartments? Were they concentrated or not concentrated in a specific
Yes,
area?
they were concentrated in that particular area.
Now, did you ever look or try to find any surveillance videos at this apartment complex?
We did canvas for surveillance footage, but we were able to locate any at that time.
Were you able to ever find or locate any eyewitnesses when you were on scene?
No.
Now, did you ever come to learn who lived in apartment 1120 next to Miss Battles?
Yes.
Who was that?
I'm gonna object to hearsay.
What's your response?
I'll ask a couple foundational questions before Your
Alright.
Honor. Officer Hill, when you responded to this scene, or do you write reports in relation to the investigations that you work?
Yes.
Do you include information about apartments you respond to or victims in the cases?
Yes.
Why is that? Why do you include that information?
Just for future references, we list any owners or tenants that apartments were damaged or could have been damaged in the reports for further investigations.
And without stating anything yet, how was it that you were able to come to learn who resided in apartment 1120?
So in the apartment complex is two other officers, Atlanta police officers that live in the complex. They had a layout of the tenants that lived in the property, and they were able to give me the name of the tenant.
So they had a layout of the residents of in all the apartments at that location?
Yes, sir.
And using that, were you able to determine who was listed as living in that apartment?
Yes.
Your Honor, may he be permitted to answer?
I'm going to object based on hearsay and confrontation.
And Your Honor, the effect on Officer Hill's investigation before leaving the scene?
Sustained.
Yes, Your Honor. Now, Officer Hill, after crime scene came, what did you all do with the shell casings that we've walked through here today? Did you leave them in the street? Did you take them somewhere? What did y'all do with them?
No, we collected them and turned them in as evidence.
And in the shell casings that were in the street, who was it that actually took those and transported them?
Myself.
And where did you take them?
So our property building, and that's where we take all evidence and properties.
Now, did you ever, after responding to this scene, what would have happened was there ever other investigators or APD personnel who would have worked this case after your involvement?
Yes, soon as I do my initial report, it'll get assigned to an investigator and they'll take over the case from there.
So, and do those investigators conduct follow-up in cases to gather more information after you leave the scene?
Yes.
And when you were working the night shift in Beat 10 Zone 1, how would you respond to multiple calls within a night?
Yes.
And after you respond and gather initial information, do you have to respond to other calls that come in?
Yes.
Did the owner of that home ever come in to report those shots and damage sustained at apartment 1120?
Not that night, not to me, no.
One brief moment, Your Honor. Your Honor, no further questions for Officer Hill at this time.
All right, do any of the defense counsel have questions for this witness?
And I thank you. On behalf of Mr. Williams, we have no questions.
Okay,
Nothing on behalf of Mr. Stillwell.
anyone else? No questions. All right, officer, thank you for your time. You're excused.
Thank you.
We ready for the next witness?
Yes, Your Honor. The state calls senior analyst Courtney Daniels to the stand.
All right.
Please raise your right hand. You swear affirm to testimony you give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Have a seat. State spell your first and last name for the court. Slide into the mic, please.
Courtney Daniel.
Testing now. Can you hear me? I might have had it muted. How about now? What about now? How about now? What about now? I had it muted because I was talking a bunch of bull. I was talking in the background and I didn't realize I had the mic muted. So anyway, I am going to get up out of here. What I was saying was I am at the point where I only work a few hours a week. A few hours a week. That's the goal. I think, isn't that the goal? Right? So I have put my hours in for the day and I am ready to get out of here. I'm going to the range. I'm going to hit some balls because I got a tournament this weekend and next weekend, golf tournaments. What did I say? I know I said I am going to do better. I'm going to try to jump on a little more often. I've been monitoring the young man who was released that had the sickle cell. I don't remember his name. I think it's Quantavius, not sure. Been monitoring the material witness order, I think, that came down. It was a warrant, basically, so that he would come and testify. They're going to do him like they did Woody, where they say, you come in, you testify. You're not allowed to take the Fifth Amendment if they offer you immunity, right? Because the Fifth is supposed to ensure you from incriminating yourself. So if I give you immunity, then there is no danger of you incriminating yourself. If you then refuse to testify, you are then in contempt of court, right? And so they can lock you up until you decide, till you change your mind. So yeah, they're going to force immunity. So yeah, I don't doubt that. Little D, thanks, Socks. I appreciate it. So I, through some back channels, was sending some information to some people, and I heard that his family did get him an attorney, so he has a lawyer. And I wish I was in Georgia. I'm not a Georgia lawyer. I'm not admitted to practice law in Georgia. Although we do have reciprocity, right? New York and Georgia does have reciprocity, meaning if I were to relocate to Georgia, I wouldn't have to take the bar again. I could simply just say, hey, I was an attorney in a reciprocal state for 5 years, and I'm an attorney in good standing, and I can motion in, basically waive in, right? That means I don't have to take the exam. But that's not where we are right now. So unfortunately, I can't be of assistance down there in the way, that I am of assistance up here. But I did hear that they did get counsel. So he is entitled to a hearing, and I confirmed that with another attorney who is in Georgia. Here, when there is a material witness warrant, you can make a motion to controvert that warrant in the allegations that are contained. Because basically, with the material witness warrant, what the police are saying is you have material information about this particular crime, right? And they likely haven't spoken to you. And they likely are repeating what they've heard. And so if you can get on the stand and somehow refute and challenge that you have material information and demonstrate that you, in fact, do not have material information. Maybe you weren't around, maybe you were incarcerated, maybe you were out of state, you were on vacation, and you were out of the country, or whatever it may have you, but you can refute their notion, their evidence that you do have material information, then the court will cancel that material witness warrant. And then you will no longer be under the auspices of the DA's office and their ability to force you to testify. Yes, we gave to the GoFundMe to help him obtain. Good. That's good. Thank you, Aries One. I appreciate that. And yeah, he has a lawyer. So we'll see how that plays out. I also saw that YSL Mondo was recently arrested, or at least charged. Not sure if he is in custody, but he was charged, I want to say, by Cobb County, because I was ear hustling. I like half paying attention while I'm doing something else. And so if my facts are not right, help me out. But Cobb County, he was charged with gun possession and all other manners of things. And this is interesting because he's one of the people who claims to be a founder of YSL, who is also a former client of Fonnie Willis. And it is really interesting that this individual is not charged along with the other YSL members, considering that he pulled no punches. It is not a secret that he is someone who claims to have started YSL, Young Stoner Life. So we'll see how that plays out and whether or not the defense will call him. I will tell you that it could be a gift and a curse, right? And so it's not something that they should do lightly if they're going to call him, because it could backfire, right? On the one hand, calling him and demonstrating that he is someone who is a part of this organization, who started this organization, and selectively has not been prosecuted, could show that there is some, prejudice and bias and things of that nature with this prosecution. But then on the other side, the jury might look at it and go, oh, he's a YSL guy. He just got busted with a bunch of guns and money and drugs or whatever, if that was the case. I know it was guns. I saw the guns. I don't know if it was drugs and money. And then that might, by association, right, they could infer guilt, which you never want to do, right? This is what jurors do. And it's not permissible, but you're not in the back of the jury room while they're deliberating and while they're coming up with their conclusions based on the evidence that's presented. So it's one of those things where, I'm not sure how the defense is going to see the YSL Mondo events as of late, and whether or not he's going to get in. I feel like the info from his case started the RICO. But this has been, so let me push back. The only reason I'm going to push back on that, H-Stocks, is because based on different conversations I've had over the course of the years this trial has been pending, it is my understanding that there have been numerous investigations into Young Thug and YSL back when Paul Howard was the DA, right? Before Fonnie Willis even got into the office. And Paul Howard back then was like, we don't got enough. We don't have it. We don't have the evidence. We don't have it. So we're not going to bring this case. And, same shit with, Trump in Manhattan. It was the prior DA, JD Vance, was like, I'm not going to pursue that. Not going to pursue that. And then we got the DA who's in there now, and he initially was like, I'm not going to pursue that either. I'm not going to pursue that either. And then he turned 360 degrees and to 180 degrees, I should say, and decided to pursue the case. So it's, I don't know how that's going to play out. I don't know how it's going to play out. What I do know is that these individuals, these young men, are facing the same RICO counts as Donald Trump and his cohorts, and they are all out on bail. So fuck you, Fonnie Willis. Fuck you and the horse you rode in on, because it's your fault that these kids are in jail in a prison that is not safe, is not clean. People are dying, and nobody is doing anything about it. Right? I don't know where the class action lawsuits are. I don't know where the DOJ is. I don't know where any of the challenges are that could help the situation. It's an Eighth Amendment violation, right? Because while inmates do have reduced constitutional rights, they still have the right to be treated and not be treated with cruel and inhuman treatment. So she just want to get loose off the goose. Yeah, she's ridiculous, and it's taking a long time, but eventually she's gonna get hers. She's gonna get hers. Yep. Because what you put out to the universe, people, and I tell you this, I tell my students this, I tell my kids this, I tell what you put out to the universe comes back to you. It's coming back. It's gonna come back. It's the law of the universe. It has to be that way, right? And so she's gonna get hers. And I don't wish bad on nobody. I wish that people get what they deserve. And let that sit with a motherfucker for a second. I wish that people get what they deserve. So, make sure that you sow the right seed so that when it's time for you to get what you deserve will be fruitful and bountiful. And it won't be some fuck shit, right, that you threw out coming right back at you. Right? Be careful about those things. Yeah, man, you do. It's true, sus. It's absolutely true. What you put out there is coming back, man. It's coming back around. It absolutely is coming back around. All right. There's some more things that I want to talk about. There are more things I want to, get into, especially as it pertains to the election and all of the fuck shit that's going on in these battleground states that will affect our ability to certify these elections, to count these elections properly, for people to vote properly. All of these things are issues that we got to talk about, but we can't do it today. That's all right. We're going to talk about them another time. It's your girl Ike here. I love you. I really do. Catch me. I've been on Serious Urban Views at 8 a.m. on Thursdays. 8 a.m. Thursdays on the Talk to My Lawyer segment with Lamont King and Greg Carr. It's Urban View Mornings. Check me out there. Sirius Channel 126. I'm usually on Thursday mornings at 8 a.m. All right. And I will try to be back on this channel more often. I love y'all. I gotta go. Peace out. Y'all be good to each other.